What up, Midgard? This week I'm coming to you from beautiful Ubud, Bali. My name is Daniel Cumming and welcome to the weekly Rune Reading. So what I'm going to be doing is setting out 3 sets of runes, and you're going to pick whatever set jumps out at you, and you'll get a customized rune reading for that set for whatever you pick. So what I'm going to do is just start shuffling the cards, and what I want you to do while I'm shuffling is just to take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. So as you breathe in through the nose, expand your belly out and forwards. And then as you exhale, just lightly deflate the belly, breathing slowly out through the nose. Just a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. So this is set number 1, set number 2, and set number 3. Don't think about it too much, just take a nice big breath in and out. Any number between 1 and 3, whatever jumps out, pick your rune set now. With that in mind, I'll give you a reading. So rune set 1. So Rhytho is the idea of order in the way that things work better in a particular process or within a particular structure. So the idea of Rhytho is the idea of a vehicle in the way that it's a way that you can obtain something or learn something or change. This is the catalyst for that. So for example, if an example might be if you're going to learn piano. So the Rhytho force in that would be setting aside a time every day, so setting a ritual aside every day and beginning to gain rhythm and momentum. So maybe doing 5 minutes a day for the first week and then building it to 10 minutes. So starting small and building momentum. This idea of riding that flow, riding that ritual and finding an order that works for you. For example, if you choose to do it first thing in the morning and the morning's just too hectic for you, or if you do choose to do it at night and you're too tired by then, finding a way, a structure that works for you and then following that structure and building that rhythm and momentum for whatever you want to be doing. Huggle. Huggle is a similar principle, but it's the idea of the cosmic seed. So the idea that a whole tree can actually be birthed and grown from that pattern in the seed. So Huggle is quite a destructive rune in the way that it tends to clear out old patterns to make way for new, fresh, and hopefully better patterns. So Huggle's usually, in my experience, when Huggle's kind of energy comes into play, it's usually from outside, something you will not expect. So it's like a storm coming through. You never really know how it's going to hit, what's going to happen. It's pretty unpredictable, but you can, prepare yourself. You can get yourself into a good habit of preparing your vehicle for, whatever the world or the universe can throw at you. So it's also important if you're trying to do something at the moment and you've tried to create some sort of ordering or some sort of ritual or some sort of rhythm or anything around that, some sort of vehicle for your process of self-development, could be a business, could be a relationship, anything that needs a catalyst for, maybe it's time to change that structure. Maybe a structure hasn't been working for you. Now, the thing with Huggle, you can, clear out more of the stuff. Huggle is all about clearing the space. So if you clear out some of the space in preparation, start getting rid of, minimizing what doesn't need to be around, maybe the process will be less dramatic. But if you don't take heed of it and you keep going the same process, things might end up crumbling a little bit more catastrophically if you don't heed the need for a bit of a change. So ordered change, which will be positive in the end, but it's up to you how you handle it. So don't worry too much if there's a big change coming. So Elhaz, similar kind of theme, I think, but in different aspects. So Elhaz is the idea of divine communication. It's closely linked to what they call the Filia, or this guardian entity. So it's very much about divine intervention, I guess, but also this some sort of connection to some sort of higher power. Elhaz in particular, especially because it's coupled with Thurisaz, can also be very destructive. Now, Alhaz, in the way, if you see it from the idea of this guardian aspect or this guardian entity, it's as much there to nurture you and help you grow and protect you as it is to just throw you into a battle. It won't throw you into a battle by yourself too much, though. It'll throw you into a battle, but it'll give you a sword, if that makes sense. So it's not going to be there to punish you, but it will be there to test you, to help you grow, and it'll probably pull you out last minute, just as much as you can handle. So it'll throw a lot of stuff at you, but nothing more that you can't handle. So it cares about your self-growth and your development, especially your higher purpose in life. So that's a real focus of Alhaz, that real higher self-perspective on things, something that you might not see yourself from your current perspective. Thurisaz is a reactive force. So Thurisaz is all about acting without thinking. So, a positive act of that might be, just going for something, just taking pure action instead of over-analyzing things. And it represents Thor as well, the way that Thor kind of is that breaker of boundaries, that destroyer of obstacles. So it's a very reactive force, but also a very protective force. So it's interesting because Alhaz and Thurisaz are both probably the main protective runes that you would use to protect yourself from something. But it's also, runes of attack as well. You've got, the protective aspect here, but you also got the sword as an attack, and you've got the Thurisaz as this kind of like penetrative force. So it can be a very sexual rune as well. So it's interesting. It's a tricky reading because there's so many meanings around these runes, especially the way that they combine, but they're closely linked. So it's a really cool reading, actually. So maybe there's something that is calling you right now that you've had a bit of resistance to, but you have that power to overcome it. But you also need to protect yourself from, I suppose, forces or people or things that might distract you from that higher purpose. So you need to set up some sort of shield wall against what is not going to nourish you, what is not going to benefit you in whatever goals you're seeking at the moment. But be prepared to push forward and actually go out and take action on what you want at the moment. So it's a very active mixture of runes. So if you're thinking about whether you should do something, you should definitely do something. And don't think about it too much. So it looks like you've got things, you've got the runic forces there to protect you at the moment. So whatever you're doing, I would just barge straight in and know that you've got these watching your back, but just make sure you've got a little bit of defense there as well. So it's, very, very interesting reading if you pick those. Here we have, So we have Manas. Manas is the idea of being human in all its aspects. So it's that idea of that divine spark of humanity. In Norse myth, they believe that all humans were descended from the gods, and that they all receive that spark of divinity, that potential to become like the gods, or potential to be very enlightened beings. So it's that aspect of humans, that amazing aspect of humans, human consciousness. But it's also the very, the very mundane, the very mortal aspects of humans that, we are human and we get pulled in certain directions that we didn't intend on, that we, say we're going to go do something, we don't necessarily do it. We do have weaknesses and things like that, and that's perfectly normal, and that's not a thing to be ashamed about. So it's, being a little bit easy on yourself as well. So obviously pushing yourself to that divine spark, but being easy on yourself. Now, coupled with Naldiz is the idea of resistance. So Naldiz is all about a barrier of sorts, but more so something pushing back against you. So it's that your will is being resistant, that maybe you're working towards something at the moment and finding it harder than you thought it would be. But there is so much growth and strength in that. We literally, for physical training, we need resistance to grow bone density, to grow muscles. We need resistance to grow and get stronger. And it's that idea of what we need at the moment, not necessarily what we want, but a challenge of sorts, because a lot of people may think that, if things aren't easy, it's maybe not meant to be. But if you look at it back in history of the people that have done amazing things with their life, most of those people have had a pretty hard time doing what they're doing. And that's why one, they've really appreciated it, and then the world has appreciated it because it's something that the world need, not necessarily wanted, something that was easy, something the world needed, and they met a lot of resistance against that, but it made it so much more of an amazing victory when they achieved that. And not only was it such an amazing victory, but they grew so much from it. And that's the key to this as well. So accepting that we're human, and not everything is going to be easy. We think that everything that is supposed to be is just going to be easy, but I think a lot of the cases it can be the complete opposite. So if you are experiencing your humanness at the moment, go easy on yourself, but also don't give up. And especially if you're going through some sort of resistance, something hard at the moment, you're going to be better because of this. So you really need to just, push through. But I suppose whereas this one was more of a, you're protected, you're ready to go. This one, you just, I suppose, need to be gentle with yourself and accept, even maybe look at accepting help from others to get and push through, and realize that, resistance and need, necessity is just as important as getting what you want, if not more so. If everything's too easy, one, we don't appreciate it, but we don't often grow as much from those experiences. So I hope that's made a little bit of sense for the readings this week. So Raido, Haggalas, Elhas, Thorisas, and Manas, and Nalvis for this week's reading. I would love for you to comment below the video, let me know which set, 1, 2, or 3 you picked, any insights you got from it, any questions you have, and I'd love to hear how this is helping people and what you're getting from these readings, and especially which ones you're picking. If you have any other ideas, you can comment below, or you can get in touch with me from runeyoga.org. So I'd love to see you again next week, and I hope you have an amazing and very interesting week, whichever runes you chose. I'll see you soon. Ryan till Rune.